Hi, just want to do a video on some animal rights and vegan facts. I'm going to give you about 10 facts. First, number 1, animals just have one bad day when they're slaughtered. That cannot be anything further from the truth. Most animals suffer from birth to death in sick factory farms. It's lifelong suffering. Look up a factory farm video like Farm to Fridge by Mercy for Animals and many of their undercover investigations, or watch the documentary Earthlings. So they have not just one bad day, but every day is bad for them. Living in cages, mutilated and manipulated, nothing is natural about factory farms, and nearly all birds come from factory farms. Number 2, cage-free is cruelty-free. That is a blatant lie. First of all, there's variations for what free-range, cage-free, and organic actually means. And there's little laws and oversight. So, most of them do what they want. It could be a huge factory farm warehouse stuffed full of birds, but they're not in cages. Or a small wired mesh fenced area where a few can compete to get out. So see your sources for yourself and know them. Don't trust a business that wants your money. So cage-free or whatever is not cruelty-free. Like eggs, number 3. Why are eggs cruel? Well, I'll tell you why eggs are cruel. First of all the baby male chicks upon hatching are thrown in mercerators, basically ground up alive, or suffocated in bags. And I'm talking about millions of them on a weekly basis when they're breeding for more females. The females have it worse than being ground up alive upon hatching. They are thrown in tiny battery cages that is like living in a file drawer for your entire life. And then when used up, they are discarded. And it takes over a day per egg living in those conditions. Eggs may be one of the cruelest due to that. And again, cage-free does not mean cruelty-free. The males are still going to be ground up alive even if the females are treated with any respect, which I still question. Number 4, dairy is harmless. Not true. First of all, they are force bred over and over to keep pregnant so we can steal the milk. Shortly after birth, the calves are taken away and tortured for veal in veal crates so we can steal the bodily fluids. If it's not your mother, it's not your milk. You don't need the breastfeed or bestiality of other species. It is freakish. Look up the Dairy is Scary video. Number 5, vegan is unhealthy. We live longer on average. Let that sink in. We live longer on average. They've done large studies of Buddhist Seventh-day Adventists, and I believe Rastafarians and Hare Krishna will include it. And we live longer on average. Less rates of heart disease, the leading killer, and it's usually from animal cholesterols. Cholesterol is only found in animals, clogs the arteries. Colon cancer, diabetes, and obesity, all linked to our animal-based diets. Many dietitians endorse it, doctors, and the American Heart Association and American Dietetic Association endorse it for all stages of life from birth to death. And there's been many lifelong vegetarians and vegans as athletes, pro athletes too. So, of all sports. So next, hunting is necessary because animals are overpopulated. No. Destructive humans are overpopulated, cutting in on other species' habitats. Yes, there might be deers crossing roads because we build roads in wildlife regions or their homes and invade. And we are the one destroying the land, sea, and air, not animals. 8 billion humans. Look up podwaddle.com, POODWADDLE.com for an earth clock. Very scary statistics. 8 billion humans and growing rapidly still. So no, animals are not overpopulated. Destructive humans are. So it's not a justification for hunting, even though hunting is better than sick factory farms and hiring hitmen. It's the real free range, actually, even though it leaves orphans. Number 7, fishing or fish don't feel pain. Well, everything else in their body works. Why wouldn't their sensory system? Everything else works. Think about that. Everything else works. But studies have come on both sides. I would like to assume on the side of caution. We have no need for fish. We have omega-3s via flaxseed, chia seed, hemp seed, or walnuts. It's the only reason dietitians sometimes say eat fish. It's for the omega-3s. You can get it daily via those sources, which are cheaper and more efficient. Most fish come from fish farms these days, fish farming, huge swimming pools or whatever, full of overcrowded fish, which don't have the omega-3s because they're not natural. And then you have trawler nets, which are raping oceans. Think of a football field-sized huge net dragging up everything. Unedible fish, unedible sea life, turtles, dolphins, all killed, caught up in a net. By the time they sift through it, they're all dead. So, fishing is harmful. And shrimp are killed for a bite, boiling alive. Yeah, they feel pain. They know what's going on. Everything else works. So, number 8, protein. First of all, who died of protein deficiency? Tell me someone who you know who died of protein deficiency. It's obviously not a leading killer in America. I don't think I've ever heard of anyone dying of it, especially in America. I've been vegetarian and vegan nearly 20 years and haven't worked out in 10 years, and I'm near 40 years old, and I'm in better shape than most people my age. Nearly 40 years old, nearly 20 years vegan. If you are concerned about protein, veganbodybuilding.com. Many pro athletes from all sports. And there's many vegan sources of proteins. Even in GNC, they have vegan protein shakes that have all 8 amino acids, or all amino acids. I mean, quinoa is a complete protein. Peas, beans, peanut butter, hummus, all good sources of protein. Protein is not an issue. Don't worry about it. Number 9, vegan is hard. It's harder on the animals. Vegan means simply leaving animals alone. You're not even helping them. Number 10, cows. I like my steak. Well, for harm reduction, I say have your steak and burgers. Give up the birds. Most eat about 37 land animals per year. 35 are birds. How many cows do you think you can eat in a year? 1 max? How many birds could you eat? You could eat a bucket of wings and a bird probably in each sitting. So the trolls who say, I want a nice juicy steak, if you really want to hurt the most animals, you might as well eat a bunch of eggs and birds. Nearly all birds are factory farmed too. So for harm reduction, cut out the birds first, please. Take gradual steps to be a better person for animals' health and your health. Getting down to the end. Number 11, fur. We need it, or we don't need it. Obviously, we're not cavemen anymore. But many people are against fur, but have fur. Fur trim coat hoods. Uggs. Basically fur, sheep fur, wool. Uggs are sheep skins. Baby seals, raccoons, even dogs are killed for fur trim coat hoods from DNA studies by the HSUS, sold even in mainstream stores like Macy's. So you're against fur, but some people are wearing it on their coat hood. Doesn't realize it's actually real when sometimes they're mislabeled as fake. So those are some of my animal rights facts. Just want to make a couple other points on my rant. You don't know what you don't know, so research it. I've researched it and known it and lived it for 20 years. I doubt you know more than me. in most regards of this issue. Just like I'm a pilot, I have a pilot's license. You probably don't know more about that than me, and you won't try to claim that. So why are you claiming you know more about this? So that's ignorance. You don't know what you don't know. Stop being a know-it-all like religious people. Silence helps the oppressor, never the victim. So silence is violence. And have a big brain and a big heart. There's many people with big brains, small hearts, small brains and small hearts. Have a big brain and a big heart and do something. So the old adage is shallow people talk about other people. Average people talk about material objects. Good or smart people talk about ideas. And great people talk about, or don't just talk about, act upon ideas that help others and give back to the world. So think about that quote and look up a factory farm video and stop thinking of excuses and use your brain to improve and make changes rather than remain the status quo. Have a big brain and a big heart. Thank you. Please share if you care.